And we start with Rajon Rondo, from all-star to all done. Injured Friday against Atlanta, Rondo was diagnosed with a torn right ACL after some discomfort in pregame Sunday in Boston. Tests showing the extent of that injury, which apparently Rondo played through in 2 overtimes Friday. He was present on the floor as the Celtics beat Miami in a bittersweet victory on Sunday. Boston fighting for a spot in the playoffs, and they move on now without the league assist leader and a man who was supposed to be the Eastern Conference starter at point. So the question now is, do they try to sign a point and move forward, or is it time to dismantle this club? And that's easier said than done, DA, because of the deep roots of the pieces of this club, like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. So there's an emotional aspect to this. They try to say separate business from emotion. Pretty tough if you're the Celtics.
Well, it is for the fans, but I think Danny Ainge has made it clear he has no such emotions when it comes to doing what he has to do to make that team better. I mean, he said it last year. You know, he said, I'd rather break this team up a year too early than a year too late. I mean, he doesn't want to be stuck with guys that he can't trade. And obviously, Paul Pierce is a guy that still has a lot of value. Garnett has some value to some teams. I don't think he has a lot of value to a lot of teams because of his contract, but I think he could certainly help contending teams that are willing to go into the tax for a year or two, that feel they may be one player away. I think that I'll be surprised. I'll say this. I'll be surprised if Danny Ainge does not make a major deal. And when I mean a major deal, I mean one of those two or some combination of some of their key role guys like a Jeff Green maybe or a Courtney Lee or Brandon Bass, guys that have been on the block, frankly, most of the season. So I think he's going to pull the trigger on something, because whether it's bringing back Keon Dooling, which is a possibility, I guess, or Delonte West, who's now in the D-League, or signing a veteran point guard who's out there, I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference. The only way the Celtics, I think, without Rondo, can be a contending team this year is to make a big move for a big player that can help them, whether it's Garnett and Pierce together in some combination, or Garnett or Pierce with another star player.
Sekou, do you believe that as well, that a deal is imminent right now for Boston?
Well, I don't know about imminent, but they have to explore all the possibilities. And let's be clear here, they were not a contender with Rondo before he was injured. I mean, this is a team that's been up and down all season long, haven't really been able to get into the kind of groove we saw out of them in the playoffs last year. So what you really have to have is not only an infusion of talent from elsewhere, but really a guy who's going to change the game for this team. They need a player, and, you know, obviously it wasn't getting done with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Rondo as a threesome. You need another player added to that mix to change the dynamic for this team. There's time left to really do something, but you need that infusion now. I don't know that you can even wait until the deadline. You need to start exploring it now.
All right, we've talked about some pieces. Mike, let me throw it out at you. If you were to approach Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics, what would you say you'd want, and what would you be willing to give up in return for guys age 35, 36?
Yeah, here's the problem. You're exactly right. You've got guys in their mid-30s, Garnett and Paul Pierce, obviously on the downside of their career in the next year or two. And then you got a bunch of guys who are making above average money, just kind of throwing out average stats. Courtney Lee, Jason Terry, Brandon Bass, Jeff Green paid very well and only averaging 9 or 10 points a game. I don't know what I would say to Danny other than, what do your future draft picks look like? Because I just don't see a lot of young guys who could be a factor for my team right now.